Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I painted a picture of an iconic scene here in Southwest Florida, the Sunshine Skyway Bridge and a heron. It's so beautiful in this part of the world, and I made a resolution to try and paint as many of the local scenes as I can. I hope you enjoy the video, and if you do, please help the algorithm find me by giving me a thumbs up. Here's today's palette. I've got titanium white, Naples yellow, cad yellow light, raw sienna, raw umber, French ultramarine blue, sap green and alizarin crimson. I've prepped my canvas with blue acrylic paint, and I've got my sketch on here. It's a very light sketch and it's a guideline rather than anything else. I quite often don't stick to it with things like shrubs and trees, and the only thing I'll be very careful with are the bird and the bridge, which is the Sunshine Skyway Bridge across Tampa Bay. And I want to make sure that I get that exactly, because if it's out of proportion anywhere, it just won't look right. So I'm going to work on that first and give myself a chance. I might have the wrong brush. I'm going to use a very fine brush, and I've mixed raw umber with some white to give me a very light line. And I'm going to rest my hand on here. A little more white in there. When the sun catches this bridge, and it's almost always sunny, it sparkles really, it looks very light. So I don't want to make anything too heavy. Or sort of too much like a fierce construction. Trying to get that light quality that it has. Put a bit more white on there. Okay. Now I'm going to, these, they're a series of cables, but they appear almost as a sail when you see it in the distance. They're solid. I'm painted on there. Gosh, I'm really bad with the water today. I'm mixing sap green and French ultramarine to give me a dark greeny blue, and I'm going to put that as the line under the bridge. I'm going to sort of dab it around because you see a lot of scrub really across there. Going to add a bit of yellow, a bit more blue. Apologise for my air conditioning noise. It's just very warm outside, and I live in a frame house and it really takes up the heat. As it gets closer to you, the water looks greener. It is green anyway. It's the reflection of the sky that makes it look blue. I'm going right across these palm trees that I have here. And I'll catch up with those later. I know where they are now anyway. I'm going to outline my blue heron so I don't lose it. Okay, so I don't know if this will work, but I've got a toothpick. Can you see that? No, there, toothpick. And as I say, these, they look like sails in the sunshine. But they're actually individual cables. So I'm going to try indicating that with a toothpick. I don't know how successful that will be, but they don't really need a lot of detail. And there are lots of them. You know, I just can't do that many. I don't think that was particularly successful. All right, carry on with the water. Actually, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put in sand, and I'm using Naples yellow because I really like that as a sand color. For my eye, and not everybody will agree with me, this looks close to what sand looks like, and I feel I don't have to mix it with anything or bring it down or pump it up or anything. It's going to mix there with a little white. Put a little white there to indicate sort of, we'll say that's where the surf is, and we'll emphasize that in a little while with more. I feel I'm getting there. I have a very, very old bristle brush that I like to use for my shrubs. And I think they are called mango It's a shrub which has its roots in the water. And they've got sort of a thick leathery leaf, which obviously I'm not going to show. It might not be, it might be something else. But I just sort of dot it on. And for my darks, I'm adding sap green and French ultramarine blue. And I'm sort of going to dot that in there underneath. And for my lights, I add a little yellow to that and some titanium white. And I put that on top. And I sort of sit with it for a while. I'm going to add a little more yellow. And see what I think about it. And I find that these colours, as they darken, they reduce in brightness. So I always leave things just to sit for a little while and see how it looks. While I'm thinking about yellow, I'm going to say that there's a wave coming in here. And I'm putting yellow in because when the light goes through the back of the wave, you see a sort of yellowish green. Okay, I'm not totally thrilled with these sails. As I look at it, I keep thinking they could be better. And I have to look at them and see which way those cables go, because that just does not look right to me. I'm going to use my rigger and just straight white. And I'm going to put in a couple of little birds. These are going to be white pelicans. They're big. When you see them, they're enormous. Well, I'm going to turn this upside down. And I'm going to draw in that center pole. Using my rigger. I'm going to leave that and see how that looks after a while, because that may be all that it takes. Because you don't, from a distance, distinguish those cables. And I don't want to get too picky and detailed. I don't know what it is my cat Chrissy likes about painting, but she always comes to visit me and strokes around my legs. Okay, let's see what that looks like. I really think that looks better. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with that. So next I'm going to work on my palms. First I had to let my dog out, but I've got time to do a quick couple of palms before he comes in. It's very hot out there, so he won't stay out very long. I'm using sap green and I'll use French ultramarine blue and some raw umber for the shadow. For my highlights, I use sap green, cad yellow light, and some titanium white. And if I want them to pop a little more, I use phthalo green because that's much more vivid. That's good for the first coat. And I'm mixing up there. Have a trunk that is, it's sort of grey-ish, pale sort of grey. So I'm going to just stroke that in. I think I'd like it a little more green. As it gets closer to you, the water appears more green. But down here, it's a lovely sort of aqua color. You know what I need? I need phthalo blue. I'm going to put some phthalo blue on. Okay, the dog's in and I've added phthalo blue and phthalo green to my palette. And that is going to really punch up the color of the water, the blues and greens, you'll see. And if I add yellow to the green, it gives me almost an electric color. Just going to go across that. All right, I think that looks a lot better. And so I'm going to sort of just add a little curve to these waves. Yellow, but it's just not bright enough. I'm going to put a top to my wave. Hi, Chrissy. Come to watch me paint. dot a little more. I don't want it over there so much. I might have to do that several times because, as I say, it dulls down as it dries, and so I have to go in and reinforce it. I'm using water mixable oils, and I don't know if it's something that is peculiar to water mixable oils or if that happens with other types of oils, because I don't paint with them, and I've never researched that. So we'll see. Maybe somebody who knows and can tell me in the comments. Okay, so I'm going to put a little blue shadow under these, because these waves do throw a shadow, and it looks better if you put that shadow in. I tend to paint something, live with it for a while, and then come back and adjust it. I think that's how a lot of people paint. And I'm going to, when you look at the surf, it has all these little sort of runs of surf in them. I don't know how to describe it, but I like to put those in just sort of little crisscrossy strokes with my rigger. And they sort of run up the wave too. That might be overdoing it a little bit. There are some great painters on YouTube who do really marvelous waves. And I do watch them from time to time, and I think I'm improving. I'm going across this guy's legs and body, and I'm going to put a little colour across there too. I don't want to lose him too much, because I can't just put my tracing paper over it and redraw, because I do all my sketching on tracing paper, and this is quite sticky, and I'd have to wait ages for it to get to a point where I could do that, and I don't want to do that. But I do think that this is going to need reinforcement. And I'm going to work on my little guy, and I'm going to paint him with a short brush. So I do apologize if my hand gets in the way, but I don't know what to do about that. and he has quite a yellow beak. And I'm making a sort of greyish colour for his legs. I don't know how well I'm going to do those. You know what? I'm not going to show you me doing his legs because all you'll see is my nose. So I'm going to do his legs and any finer details on the heron, and then I'll show you the finished article. I think I like that a little darker under here. I'm going to use a dry brush to sort of scoop that in. And I'm going to see, now these have dried down a little bit. I think they don't look too bad whether I put the cables in or not. I think I might just leave them like that. I'm going to brighten the sand up in here. And you know what, on these beaches they have a lot of driftwood, or I don't know what it is, fallen trees. So I'm mixing my French ultramarine blue with raw umber. To make a sort of grey. They have lots of roots and things. And I think I put things down and then I decide I don't like it that much. So I'm going to wipe off this bit. And since it doesn't wipe off very well, I'm going to cover it with sand. There you go. Anything you don't like, wipe it off or cover it up. I'm going to put a little sandy ridge across there, around there. going to put my trunks back in. And I'm going to work on my palm trees next. I'm going to put some light on my palm trees, and I'm going to assume it's sunny all over because it's Florida, but you do need some lights and darks. And also, this could do with a little punch up as well. And going to make the bottoms of these trees where the light catches them light. And I'm going to just put a slightly darker grey on the back of his neck, if I can. On the front, he has this sort of little fringe. Might be the best I can do. It's like a darker greeny blue, because these waves, as I said, cast shadow. And you know what else they do? They sort of spit up, don't know what you call it, but it's like a mist or a spume off of the tops. It sort of blows off in the breeze. So I'm going to get my toothbrush and see what I can do about that. Well, not my toothbrush, the one I use. That Heron is still not light enough, but I'm going to work on the tops of my waves. And I've got some, an old toothbrush. Don't use anything that you have used for chemicals or you know, cleaning grout or anything, because I don't know how that chemical would affect the paint. But this is a fairly clean toothbrush, and I've put paint and water on it, And I'm just going to get close in and just sort of dot a little with my finger very gently, and you see it gives it that, don't know if you can see it, I'll try and do a close-up of it. Okay, that's good enough. I'm going to go to get in for a close-up. See what the zoom does. Okay, can you see all those spots of paint? And there are too many on there. So I will just go in and very judiciously, how do I say that word? Okay, very carefully, I will take out ones I don't want. Small flat. And I'm just going to carefully brush it over a few. I want to leave the ones that are immediately above the waves. This one's too big, so I'm going to take that one out. Anything that looks too big or in the wrong place, take out very carefully. And I'm fairly pleased with that. I'm going to just put a little more white on, because like I say, the white dries up or it loses its brightness. I'm just sort of dabbling around at this point. I'm going to put shadow on the backs of my trees and in the tops. A little brighter at the bottom, just to contrast. Using some Taylor green, cad yellow medium, and I'm just going to dot in more. And I'm going to use some sap green and French ultramarine blue and put in some darks too. Using raw umber and French ultramarine, and I'm going to reinforce the darks on this log. With my white, it's got a little yellow in it, but that doesn't matter. Put a little shadow in the sand. I'd like it to be darker under here. I've got to drag it down a little bit. Okay, so I feel that I need to work on my bird a little more. And I have to get in so close that I'm going to show you after the fact. Oh, wait a minute, before I do that, let me use a small fan brush. Put in some darks. Don't put in your darks. You don't see the lights, do you? I'm not totally happy with that colour. It's such a vibrant green, whatever that plant is. I think that's a little better. Okay, I worked on the heron because I was really close up to it, and you really would not have seen what I was trying to do. But basically I reinforced the whites, and I also worked on the shadow of him and the dark legs and back, and I think he looks better. This driftwood is, it sort of takes on that greyish silver colour. I think I could still get darker with these up in here and down on the back. If you put in your darks, then your brights look so much better. You get much more contrast. I'm not sure that there's much more I can do to that. I want to smudge that into, just give a little shadow to make it look more real. I still think there could be a little more light on that. Okay. Okay, I think I'm okay with that. By the time that dries down a little bit, that will probably be about the right value. I'm going to brighten this up again. A little out there. Okay, so I'm going to live with that for a little while and have a cup of tea, see what I think of it in an hour or so. And there may be things I feel I need to do, or it may be done. You know what, right before I do that, I'm going to I'm going to put a little more light on there. That may be too much, but we'll see. So I'll be back in an hour. So I'm pretty much happy with that. I'll attempt that bridge another time because it could be better in some way, but I'm not sure today what that way would be. So I'm leaving it as it is. And if you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more. And thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.